You're standing in the kitchen. Tuesday night. Your partner just walked in with Target bags. Again. You didn't discuss this. Again. So you ask, trying to stay calm. How much was that? They freeze, not because the amount matters, because the question feels like an accusation. It's my money. You tense. I'm just asking. Well, they shut down. Why do you always do this? 3 minutes in, a $40 purchase just became a war about control, trust, and who gets to decide what's reasonable. You think you're arguing about money. You're not. You're arguing because you've been avoiding one conversation for years. The conversation that would explain why $40 just detonated your evening. And you'll keep avoiding it because once you have it, the illusion breaks. Let's destroy the easy answer first. This isn't about income. Wealthy couples fight constantly. Broke couples sometimes don't. This isn't about budgeting. You've tried that. This isn't about overspending. One of you thinks the other is reckless. The other thinks you're controlling. You're both right from where you're standing. Money isn't the problem. Money is the trigger for everything you're not saying. Here's the conversation you're avoiding. What does financial safety actually mean to you? Not theoretically. What amount makes you stop panicking? What are you afraid will happen if money runs out? What did money feel like growing up? Chaos, control, scarcity, silence. What are you trying not to repeat? And the hardest question. Do you trust your partner's financial judgment? Not their heart. Their decisions when no one's watching. You don't talk about this. You fight about transactions instead. Because transactions are safer than admitting you might see the world completely differently. You avoid it because of fear. Fear that naming what you need will sound unreasonable. Fear that admitting you don't feel safe with their choices means the relationship is broken. Fear of discovering fundamental incompatibility. You avoid it because of power. Who decides what's reasonable? Who controls spending? Who has authority? Neither of you wants to surrender that. So you fight for it through purchases instead of honesty. You avoid it because of identity. I'm the responsible one. I'm the one who enjoys life. I'm the provider. I'm holding this together. If you have the real conversation, those identities get challenged. Maybe you're not responsible. Maybe you're just afraid. Maybe they're not reckless. Maybe you're just rigid. So you stay in the loop, and the loop has roles. The controller tracks everything, not because they're controlling, but because visibility equals safety. Financial chaos triggers panic, so they monitor, question, tighten. Their partner suffocates. The spender uses money for relief, not recklessly, strategically. Money buys brief escape from pressure. Every questioned purchase confirms their needs don't matter, so they spend more. To breathe. The avoider shuts down entirely. Money talks feel like trials. So they disengage, stop checking accounts, stop participating. Their withdrawal makes their partner panic harder. The provider ties worth to income. Earning equals mattering. Every dollar spent without permission feels like dismissal. Resentment builds silently. You're not having different fights. You're replaying the same unspoken conversation through different transactions. The Target bags, the Venmo tension, the midnight account check, the hidden receipt. Every purchase is a proxy for the conversation you won't have, and it's creating damage you don't track. Emotional distance, financial secrecy, the same monthly fight with different props. No shared future because shared futures require the conversation you're avoiding. Here's the lie keeping you stuck. More money will fix this. It won't. More money amplifies the pattern. Same fights, bigger numbers. because the amount was never the issue. So what's the actual conversation? Not the budget talk, the vulnerable one. What does enough mean to you? Not as a number, but as a feeling. What are you actually afraid of? Do you trust my judgment? What would make you feel secure enough to stop controlling or medicating with spending? This isn't financial planning. This is emotional honesty. Naming what's underneath. The wound. The survival pattern you learned before you knew it was a choice. And here's what happens when you finally have it. You stop fighting about purchases and start building alignment. Not because you suddenly agree on everything. Because you understand what money represents to each other. What it's protecting. What it's avoiding. You create actual structure, not one person's system forced on the other. Shared visibility, both of you seeing the same reality. Weekly check-ins before money becomes crisis. Spending agreements you built together. Defined boundaries so you stop guessing. You stop hiding purchases because transparency doesn't feel like attack. You stop panicking because you agreed on limits together. You stop weaponizing money because you name what you're actually fighting about. Or you keep avoiding it. Keep fighting. Keep drifting. Keep using purchases as stand-ins for the conversation that would actually explain the tension. Keep pretending better income or tighter budgets will solve what's underneath. They won't. You don't have a money problem. You have a conversation you're avoiding. About fear, safety, control, trust, and whether you can build a financial life together instead of two separate ones that share an address. The conversation isn't about dollars. It's about whether you're willing to stop hiding behind transactions and start saying what they actually represent. And every day you avoid it, you're choosing the fight over the truth, the comfort of familiar conflict over the vulnerability of real alignment. The conversation is waiting. It's been waiting. And it will keep waiting while you fight about $40 and pretend that's the problem. Until you decide what's scarier, having the conversation or living in the loop forever. One requires courage for one night. The other costs you everything, one transaction at a time. The choice was never about money. It was always about whether you're brave enough to build something real, or comfortable enough with pretending that you'll keep choosing the fight